Again, here is 1,500 points of Night Lords to go up against some Crimson Fists. So one battalion with an auxiliary heavy support detachment there, which is obviously a knight. Let's dive in here. So leading this army, we have a Chaos Lord and Terminator armor, and he's got the Claws of the Black Hunt, and joining him is a Chaos Sorcerer with a Force Stave. Troop choice wise, we have three obviously, so we have a 10-man Chaos Marine squad here. This one has a Flamer and Melter, and the Aspiring Champion has a Chainsword and Bolt Pistol. We have exactly the same squad here as well, and then over here, almost the same, except this has got two plasma guns, and the Aspiring Champion has a Power Maul and Plasma Pistol. In the elite section, we have a small chosen squad here, so it's just a 5-man, all with plasmas, and the Aspiring Champion a Power Sword and Plasma Pistol. Heavy slots, we have two Havoc squads, of 5 Chaos Marines each. This one's got 3 missile launchers and a heavy bolter, and obviously the Aspiring Champion there has just a standard combat weapon and bolt pistol. And then over here, pretty much the same, except we have 4 heavy bolters instead. And then finally, up here we have I think it's Chaos Despoiler Knight. It's got the Avenger Gatling and the Reaper Chain Sword. So let's see what the Crimson Fists have bought. And here is the Crimson Fist 1,500 point force. And down here you can see that in the HQ section we are led by a Primaris Captain who is the Warlord, and he has the Burning Blade as his relic upgrade and the Storm of Fire Warlord trait. We also have a Lieutenant here, Primaris Lieutenant. He's going to have a Stalker Bolter for him there, so that's the long range one. And then we have a Librarian who is taking Psychic Scourge, Might of Heroes and Smite. So that's the HQs. Troop choice wise, we have an Intercessor squad of 10 men here. Obviously the Sergeant here has the Power Sword upgrade. We also have 2 squads of Space Marines back here, just 2 10-man squads. Nice and simple. The Sergeant here has a Power Fist, and the one at the back has a Power Sword, and I think we have a Flamer in each there as well. We also have 4 Aggressors here with the Stormbolt Gauntlets. We have a Stern Guard squad. I think just the Sergeant there has his Power Fist, and other than that, I think they have all their standard Stern Guard rifles. We also have a heavy choice of Devastators here with 4 missile launchers, and also that marker there will be marking the Armour and Cherub, and obviously Sergeant with a Power Sword. We also have a Dreadnought here with a las cannon and missile launcher. And then finally, 2 heavy choices here. We have 2 Predators. One on the right there is the autocannon Predator with the heavy bolters, and the one on the left has all the las cannons in the world. So that is 1,500 points of Crimson Fists. We'll be back in a minute with the battle and table layout. And welcome back, and here is the table setup and deployment for this game of 40k. We are doing the Dominate and Destroy mission, which is an Eternal War mission, so there's no data cards involved here. The premise is quite simple. We have 6 objective markers, so I'll just go through them quickly. We've got 1 down here. There is 1 underneath that Intercessor squad down there. We have 1 in this crater, 1 out in the lone wilderness over here, 1 over here, and finally 1 in this central crater currently covered by a Chaos Marine squad. So basically what happens at the end of each player turn, you score a point for an objective that you hold. You also score 1 point for each unit that you destroy at the end of your turn. So it's at the end of the turn, not the battle round. And also we have Slay the Warlord, Line Breaker and First Strike available. First Blood actually in this particular version, so only scoreable once. Other than that, that's the setup, and at the moment I finished deploying first because we were doing alternate deploying for this mission. So I have +1 to my roll, so I'm just going to roll here. So I have a 2. I think he's going to roll here and see what she gets. A 3, so I presume you want to go first. Yeah. In that case, I'm going to straight away roll to see if I seize. And I don't, so we'll be right back in a minute with Crimson Fists, turn 1. Although just before we do start, I did neglect to mention a couple of things in my army list. First of all, my Lord here has the, my Lord who's in reserve over here, has the Reign of Terror Warlord trait, and he also has a Mark of Khorne, an icon of Wrath, so he can reroll his charges, and also the 2 Havoc squads, so here and here have Marks of Slaanesh, just so I can use the Endless Cacophony skill on them. So right, we're back in a minute, this time definitely with Crimson Fists, turn 1. Okay, so as the Crimson Fists end their movement phase, over here the aggressives have run, so they can try and get their guns in range of this Havoc squad here, or potentially the Marines over there. Also, this tactical squad has moved up, and I think there was a slight bit of moving from this tactical squad, but not too much. So really, they haven't moved at all. Well, let's see what happens in the psychic and shooting phases for the Crimson Fists. Okay, so during the psychic phase, Mighty Hero's got cast on the Predator here. And also, starting the shooting phase here, this Predator is shooting all 4 las cannons at the knight over there. I will be rotating my iron shields for 1 command point, so that gives me a 4 up and vulnerable as opposed to a 5. So anyway, let's see if we can get some hits here. So we go, 4 las cannons hitting on 3s. Okay, so 2 missed, 2 hits, and they're strength 9 on toughness 8, so needing 3s to wound. So, do you want a command point either?
I do, yeah.
So just the 1. Okay, so that did go through, so I'm now going to roll my 4 up and vulnerable to see if I save against it. And I do not. So that knight has taken d6 wounds, so 4 wounds on the knight, so it's down to 20. Back in a minute with the next. Okay, just as a little recap here, these aggressors here shot into the Havocs. I put Midnight Clad on there, so using another command point. And they actually only managed to kill 1 because obviously I'm all in cover there, so it gave me a +1. So that is that particular part of the shooting phase. We're now going to do the rest of it off camera, and we'll be back in a moment. Okay, so as the Crimson Fists turn 1 shooting comes to an end, we had this squad of intercessors here fire into this Chaos Marine squad here, wiping out 5 of them. It was a pretty nasty fusillade as they had stood still, so they got 20 shots. Finally over here we also had a couple other shots come into this Marine squad here, however they only lost 1. So not too bad for them. That was from the Predator. And then we had a couple other shots come in from the Dreadnought hiding in the corner over here. He fired his las cannons, as you can see the legs of the knight there, taking off no wounds because it actually failed to wound in the end. And then also he fired the missile launchers, which actually killed a lot of these guys over here as well at, well, down to 5 obviously. So they lost 5. I don't think there's any assaulting going on, so I'm just going to quickly do my leaderships here. So these obviously lost 5. It's going to be a low number. That is not good. So we're back in a minute with the casualties and the score for Vicky. So as the Crimson Fists bolters die down, we found that they scored 2 points. 1 for holding the objective in that corner over there, and 1 for holding the one on top here. So that is the end in Crimson Fist turns 1. We'll now be over to the Night Lords turn 1. So as Night Lords finish their movement over here, this squad has run up to try and get hold of that objective there, just within 3 inches, which is good. The squad that was pretty much decimated bar 3 has hunkered down in the crater there. Obviously this Havoc squad has stayed still because it needs to fire its weapons effectively. Sort of just moved up a little bit. And then finally over here, we have this Chaos Marine squad hugging this objective here, along with the Chosen, who have done a run underneath here to get ahead, so they can't shoot, but they are getting closer to their quarry over here. So we'll now head on into the psychic and shooting phase and see what the Night Lords can dish out in punishment. Okay, so as the Night Lords kick off their shooting phase, we're going to start with this squad of Havocs here, who are going to shoot over at the Predator over there. So we'll start with the 3 missile launchers. I did actually get prescience off in my psychic phase, so they are hitting on 2s here because they didn't move either, so let's roll that up. So that's 3 missile launcher hits. So it is toughness 8 at the moment due to the Might of Hero, so I'm going to need 4s to wound. Oh dear, so we only got 1 there. I am actually going to command point one of these to see if I get lucky. No, so I've lost another command point there, which I'll tick down. So let's see if you save that on a 4 up. No, so that's D6 wounds. So it's 3 wounds done onto the Predator at the moment. We also have 3 heavy bolter shots, which is coming from there because it's a mixed squad. So hitting on 2s as well. I missed with 1 of them. Any strength 5, so I'm going to need 5s to wound. We didn't do that either. So that's the end of that part of shooting. I'll be back in a second with the next bit. Okay, well next up for the Night Lords we have this squad of Havocs here shooting into the Devastators over here, so a bit heavy on heavy. So we've got obviously 4 heavy bolters in there, so we're going to roll that first. We are hitting on 3s because there's no shenanigans going on here. Okay, not looking too bad, so we'll just pull out anything that didn't hit. That's actually really good. And obviously we're winning on 3s. Again, not so bad at all. I think actually they all wounded. So that's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 wounds. So can they save them? It's -1, but they are +1 for being in cover. So they still have a 3 up save for 10. So how many do we lose? That looks like 3 to me. Yep, 3 dead. Okay, so that's 3 of these guys gone. So we're back in a minute with the next selection of shooting. Okay, so we did just have the knight firing over the aggressors there and managed to kill them all, which is actually really good, but the Avenger Gatling Cannon is pretty good at doing that. However, I'm not happy with the result on the Predator there, only having you lost 3 wounds. So I'm going to pay 2 command points, so that's going to put us down to 3. Oh, not 2, but 3. Come on now. Okay, we'll come back to this if I can't do it again. There we go. That's down to 3. And I'm going to fire this squad of Havocs again for a second time. This is obviously the end of my shooting phase. So we have 3 missile launchers firing first. So hitting on 2 still because they're still under prescience. So they all hit. And we need 4s because it's still toughness 8 annoyingly. And we didn't do anything. Fantastic. Well, that was a waste of command points. But anyway, so that is actually the end of the shooting phase. Just anything of note was obviously the aggressors died there. So I did get first blood. Other than that though, the other thing was that obviously these guys over here went down to 2, but we rolled that on camera, so you should know that. So at the end of this phase, because I'm not going to do any assaulting, we'll roll straight into that. I've got 1 for first blood, I also got 1 for this one, got 1 for this central objective, and I also got 1 for this, so 4 points for that round. So we'll now head over to Crimson Fists in turn 2. Okay, so as the Crimson Fist movement phase in turn 2 ends, first of all, they have ramped up the tactical doctrine, so all these bolters are going to get some extra AP. Down here, this squad has moved forward, obviously squaring up against this Chaos Marine squad over here. In this part of the board, nothing else has really moved. I think these Marines moved around slightly, but not too much. Obviously, the Primaris are staying put on that objective, really digging in. And then over here again, these have stayed still. So not a lot of movement on the Crimson Fist part, but then I suppose they do want to defend a little bit for some reason. So that is the end of the movement phase. We'll head on into the Psychic and Shooting. Okay, so again in the Psychic phase, Might Herod has gone on to the Predator and again is shooting all of its weapons up at the Knight again. So here we go, 4 las cannon shots. Ooh, dearie me. I think the thing's just out of range actually, yeah.
Just out?
Yeah. So, just the 1. So that is 1 wound, so I'm going to try and do a 4-up invulnerable save, which we pass. So the Knight is again okay, not looking good, it's getting a bit close now. So that's the end of that part of shooting, we'll be back in a moment. Okay, so as we finish up Crimson Fist shooting turn 2, a fair amount of devastation down here. This squad got absolutely ripped apart by the bolters of the Intercessor squad there. In fact, I can't pass the leadership and I'm not going to pay 2 command points to pass it, so that is now gone. It's actually got a point for Vicky as well because that's killed a unit in this turn. Other than that, we had a few shots going to the Knight, which has taken it down to 18 wounds now. That was actually off the Dreadnought over there, so not bad shooting. And then we had and that far side of the table, we also had the Stern Guard there fire into this squad down here, but they didn't actually manage to do anything, unfortunately. And in fact, that was pretty much the story for the rest of the weapons over here. So, at the end of that turn, Vicky scored 1 point for killing a unit, and she still holds 2 objectives, 1 up there and 1 over there, so it's another 2. So yeah, we'll now head on to Night Lord's turn 2, and maybe the Lord might turn up and cause some pain. Okay, so as the Night Lords kick off turn 2 at the end of their movement phase, over here we had no movement on this back line because they're all quite happy there. Obviously these guys should shoot again in a minute. Likewise with the Heavy Bolter squad over here. The Knight, however, made a quick jump onto that objective in the middle there. Obviously I knew I could have gone for that Predator over there, but I feel like I would like to get the score here, and I'm hoping we've got some other things to deal with that. On this side, the Chosen have moved up, so all those plasma guns coming to bear into this direction, hopefully. Maybe take out their Stern Guard or take some wounds off the Dreadnought, who knows. And then the Lord here has jumped in 9 inches away from both these units here, just about managed to squeeze him in there, which is good. So we'll see what he goes after. I mean, obviously that's quite a risky charge. However, he does have a Mark of Wrath, or Icon of Wrath, so he just gets to re-roll. So yes, that is the end of the movement phase. We'll now head on into the Psychic and Shooting phases. Okay, so to kick off my shooting phase again, we're going to come back to this vital shot here from the Havoc squad. They're firing all the weapons again at the Predator over here. So starting with the missile launchers, we did get prescience off, so they are now hitting on 2s. And they all hit, and then I need, unfortunately due to reroll, Mighty Hero did go off, so I need 4s here now. which they all did. So that is now needing 3 4-up saves. Sorry, 5-up saves, pardon me. None. Did you want to command point them, or you're all right?
I'm good.
Okay, so 3d6 damage coming in. That is dead. Do you want to see if it blows up on a 6? I'm kind of hoping it does, personally. No blow up, but the main killer for my knight is now gone, which is good. So we're back in a minute with the next round of shooting. Okay, so at the end of the Night Lord's shooting phase, quite a successful turn so far. This knight here fired into the intercessors and we have taken off 2 there. On top of that, we also fired another shot in there and he managed to take 1 wound off. That was actually from a second volley fire from these using Endless Cacophony. So over this side of the board, this heavy bolter squad fired into this squad of Marines. I think we took, I think it was just 2 in the end, wasn't it? So that's 2 dead from there. And then finally over here, the plasmas, not overcharging, because I think that was rather foolish to do that, fired into this squad here, killing off 3. So that just leaves the Lord here, a slightly tough job, but we'll see what he can do in a minute in the assault phase. Okay, so in the assault phase, the Terminator Lord, Chaos Lord here, decided to charge into the Dreadnought, because he does have the Claws of Black Hunt, so I feel like I could do some damage. So Overwatch coming in, so we've got, I think we've got a missile launcher and a las cannons. Yep, so las cannons first. No hits. And the missile launcher. No hits, fine. Okay, so we'll now roll to see his charge. I need a 9. And we get it. So he has made it into combat. So we'll charge him into here. That's brilliant. And then we'll do his combat. So he actually normally gets 4 attacks for being a Lord. However, he does have the Claws of Black Hunt, which gives him 1 extra attack. So he's 5s. Obviously hitting on 2s, re-rolling 1s. So re-roll that 1 there. Okay, he's managed to hit with all his hits. Now, he's normally strength 4, but he's got +1 of strength, so he's strength 5, but he still needs 5s anyway, so that doesn't really make too much difference in this situation. So we're looking for 5s here. Oh dear, so just the 2. Well, oh, so actually, sorry, they're lightning claws, we get to re-roll to wound. Oh, blimey, I'm almost forgetting my own rules there. Okay, so we've got an extra one out of that, so 3. That's -3 AP, so that means 3 6-up saves required. Just the 1, so 2 got through, and this says D3 damage each, so we've got 2 D3 damage. Oh no, just the 2 damage, that is not good. So that Dreadnought is down to, I think, 6 wounds, if I remember correctly. I start with 8. So he's got 6 wounds left, and I'll do his fight back. So a Dreadnought obviously has 4 attacks. Although this has no power fists on it, so 4 attacks coming back at the... okay. So that was actually 2 hits, sorry for the dice roll there. So that's 2 hits. And then needing, so it's strength 6, so it needs 3s. So just the 1, no AP on that. So I've got a 2-up save against that. And we are good. So yeah, not too bad, at least he didn't die. So we'll now move on to, it's going to be the end of the Night Lords actually. And before I go, I'll tell you what, we'll go for the scores quickly. So I scored 1 for killing a unit, because that was the Predator. I've also got 1 for holding this, and 1 for holding this, and 1 for holding that. So there's another 4 points for me in that round. So we're back in a minute with Crimson Fists, turn 3. Okay, so as the Crimson Fists desperately try to reorganise after the death of a couple of their key units, over here the tactical squad has moved towards the objective, trying to face down those havocs. Obviously the tactical doctrine is still active, so there's quite a lot of danger from those bolters now. Other than that, though, we had a little shuffle here, although there wasn't really many places for this squad to actually end up going, so they've kind of stayed put. Notably over here, though, the Dreadnought has moved out of combat with the Lord, leaving him open to being shot at by these 2 Stern Guard here. And obviously that Stern Guard's got a power fist, so he's got a chance if they do go in combat in a minute. Other than that, that is all the shooting. We'll now, all the movement, I should say. We'll now move on to the psychic and shooting phases and see what happens. Okay, so to kick off the psychic phase, the Librarian here is going to try and put some hurt onto the Knight here, starting off with Psychic Scourge. So first we need, I think you need a 6 to cast that, so start with that. Yeah, that's good. And then you now need to roll a d6 and add your leadership to it. And I have to do the same. So we're actually the same here. So it's basically highest dice roll wins. Oh, unfortunately, nothing happens in that case. And now you've got your smite. So you just need a 5 for that. So that does actually go off. So that's it's D3 mortal wounds onto the knight. So if you roll a dice there, and we'll see how many wounds I take. I can't do anything about it. Just the one. So he's down to 17 wounds. Are you going to command point it? Yeah, okay, we're going to command point it for the damage.
Oh,
Still the one. Oh dear. Not brilliant. So the knight is still only down to 17 wounds. We'll be back in a minute with some shooting. Okay, so now the Crimson Fist really needs some luck against the knight here. So we're having 2 crack missiles going into the knight. So here we go, hitting on 3s. Both hit, and I can't rotate Iron Shields. I have no command points left, so we just need 4s here. And then I'll take my 5 off invulnerable. We've got 1 went through, so 5 off invulnerable here. Oh, actually, it wasn't being 5. Sorry, I needed a 4, but a 2 is not going to help me either way. So it's D6 damage on it. And what we got here, hopefully a high number. Yes, 6 wounds. So that is now down to 11 wounds left. So that's pretty good because that's docked it at a level. So hopefully that's a sign that they can probably punch a few more wounds in it and get it off the table shortly. So that's down to 11. Now we've got the rest of the shooting phase. Okay, so as we end Crimson Fist turn 3 shooting, pretty good round of shooting over here from the special characters here, because basically the captain and the lieutenant, after all of the normal Marines here shot into the knight, actually managed to take another 3 wounds off it. So it has bracketed it down 1. So it's on 8 wounds left now. So it is starting to smoke a little bit. The Intercessors up here elected to shoot at the remaining Chaos Marines on that objective, and they've cleared them off it. So that now means I've got to move something over there to try and get it. Over on this side, we had the 2 remaining Stern Guard rapid fire into the Lord, taking it down by 1 wound. So he's still okay. It remains to be seen if it's going to be charged or not. Are we going to charge it? We'll see in a minute. Okay, so as the assault phase starts here in turn 3, the 2 Stern Guard are feeling very brave and decided to charge the Lord. So here we go, needing, I think it's about a 3, so you should be fairly... Yeah, that's just about bang on, thank Christ. So they're in. And now we'll go into combat here. So we've got the Sergeant, who's got a Power Fist, he's got 3 attacks, and he's going to be hitting on 4s, because obviously it's -1 with the Power Fist. Oh dear. And then obviously got your normal guy who's got 2 attacks, hitting on 3s. They did both hit, and then you need 4s to wound. No wounds. So, okay, well, now we'll have the Lord attack back. So he's got 5 attacks, hitting on 2s, re-rolling 1s. We hit with everything. And strength 5, so we need 3s. Re-rolling as well because of lightning claws. So actually we did 3 wounds. They need a 6-up save, so 3 6-up saves. Oh, we got 2 dead Marines. No, sadly both of those have died. That is the end of the combat phase and the end of the round. We're back in a minute with the score. Okay, so at the end of that round for the Crimson Fists there, they did actually get 3 more points there. They were just in range of this one here. They're also in range of that one, and also having killed the squad that was on here, that's put them up to 8. So it's now 10-8. Night Lord's winning by 2 points at the moment. We'll now head on into the Night Lord's turn 3 and see what they can do. Okay, so the Night Lords have just finished their movement phase, and down here, this squad has stayed put because they're obviously holding that objective quite nicely, as has this Havoc squad because they want to be able to fire effectively. However, the Sorcerer has run onto the objective over here just to make sure it's secure for the moment. Obviously, that could change next turn. Over here, the Havocs have stayed put in their little bush over here. They're enjoying their little hiding techniques over here. And then onto this side of the board, the Chosen have moved up, just movement, so they're getting their plasmas ready to fire over at this Dreadnought, and the Lord here has moved onto the objective because you never know, they might kill it, but actually I think they're at half range anyway, so it's probably not possible. Knight has actually stayed put as well, just to stay on that objective, because I don't really want to put it in any more danger than it already is. So an overwatch from it could probably be quite painful. So that's all the movement done. We'll now head on into psychic and shooting. Okay, so at the end of the Night Lord's turn 3, over here, the Sorcerer cast Prescience onto this Havoc squad again. They shot up at the Intercessors and actually didn't do anything, including the shots from the Knight, who also didn't do anything, so they've survived really well this turn. Over on this side, however, the Havocs decided that those missile launchers at the back there needed to get rid of, so they shot all their shots into the Devastators and just managed to kill 2 of them, which is all that was left. So that is pretty much all the shooting phase done. We'll now head on over to the other side of the battlefield for an assault with the Lord against the Dreadnought. Okay, so the Lord over here charged into the Dreadnought, hoping to kill it. Not quite, unfortunately, leaving it on 2 wounds. And it fought back, hit 4 times, but didn't manage to do any wounds past the Terminator Lord's armour. So that is the end of turn 3 for the Night Lords, and we'll back in a minute with the score. Okay, so at the end of this round, the Night Lords scored 1 point here, 1 point here, and 1 point there. Unfortunately, I moved myself out of range there, which was possibly foolish, but I didn't really want the las cannon shooting next turn, so I think that was more valuable. So yeah, and I also killed that Havoc squad over here, got me other points. So I've made another 4 points in total. So adding another 3 onto my score here, that puts me up to 14. So 14 points to 8 at the moment, but we'll now head on to Crimson Fists, turn 4. Okay, so Crimson Fists have just ended their movement phase in turn 4. Over here, the tactical squad have gone to lock down that objective there. Havoc's looking a bit worried because there's a lot of bolters pointing their direction, including the ones that potentially could shoot from up here. The Predator has moved around to get full line of sight on this side of the board. It has checked, and it is actually in range of the Chosen as well now, so that could result in them getting chewed up a little bit. This squad has moved up towards the Knight. I think there's going to be a concerted effort to remove this from the board this turn, even if it is with just bolter fire and smites. So that is all the movement for the Crimson Fists. We'll now move on into their psychic and shooting. Okay, so the Librarian's leading off the action here. So we're doing Psychic Scourge first. So we need a 6 for that. It doesn't quite go off, no command points to save the day's day. So now Smite, needing a 5. Yeah, that went off, so it's D3 damage on the Knight, and I can't do anything about it. So another 2 damage, so it's down to 6 wounds now. So we're back in a minute with some shooting. Okay, so the shooting phase has ended for the Crimson Fist, and as I suspected, lots of shots rained in on the Knight. However, he's been reasonably resilient, and he's down to 4 now, so he's in the bottom bracket, but he's got a lot of trouble to deal with now. And I'm running out of stuff to actually kill things from far away, and most of the stuff's up this end of the board. So there is one thing left to do in this round, and that is to have this assault down here. So we're back in a second. Okay, so as we end the assault phase here, the Terminator Lord, Chaos Terminator Lord I should say, managed to take out the Dreadnought at the end. It didn't blow up either, so he's reasonably safe. He's got a fair few units between him and any line of fire, so that's good. So he managed to get that onto that objective with the consolidate towards the nearest unit, which happened to be that tactical squad. So at the end of that round, Vicky's managed to score a few more points there. I think we've got 2 again. So we've got this one here and that one there. Unfortunately, no other units died, so no additional points there, but that does get up to 10. So it's 14 to 10 at the moment as we move on into Night Lord's turn 4. Okay, as you see, the battlefield is looking pretty spread out here. In my movement phase there, for the Night Lords in turn 4, I moved the Chosen this way, heading towards this objective, possibly for next turn. I have left the Lord there. I kind of figure he's pretty much out of the fight now, considering his Terminator makes him move 5 inches a turn. And also, he is holding the objective at the moment. Over this side of the board, the Sorcerer has just made a very small deviation to his movement over this way, just so he can put himself within 8 inches of this squad, so he can cast Prescience on them. And Knight's obviously stays still because he's still holding that objective, and I wouldn't mind holding it one more turn before he probably blows up. So we'll head on into the Psychic and Shooting phases for Night Lords in turn 4. Okay, so at the end of turn 4 for the Night Lords, because I'm not going to do any assaulting, over here, the Knight shot all of its shots into the Intercessors, taking out 3 there in the end, and obviously a few shots from the Havocs here took 1 more away, so they're down to 3 men now, so that's just slightly less bolter fire coming from that direction, although it's still not looking too rosy over there for the Knight. Over here, the Havocs here, who got Prescience on them, piled all their shots into this squad here, taking it down to 5 men. So, a little bit better there. So, at the end of my turn, scores-wise, we've scored 1 point here, another point there, so it's 2, 3 for the one the Knight's holding, and 4 for the one that the Terminator Chaos Lord is holding at the moment. So just 4 points because I didn't kill anything, so just the 4. So that is the end of Night Lord's turn 4. We'll head on to Crimson Fist turn 5. Okay, so the Crimson Fists have kicked off turn 5 here with the movement phase, and over here this squad has moved into the trees here properly, putting the flame at the front, so I think it's in range for a bit of a crispy welcome for these Night Lords over here. Over to this side of the board, the Tactical squad actually managed to move within 3 inches of the objective here, so even if they don't kill the knight, they actually control it for their turn, which is what they want, obviously. However, obviously getting rid of the knight would be another bonus objective there as well. Other than that, though, everything else has moved up with them, so there's quite a nasty bit of pain in this squadron down here, and I haven't got a lot to deal with it nearby other than the knight, who's looking a bit shaky, not as reliable as he was at the beginning. Anyway, the Night Lords are hopefully going to do some shadowy stuff in the background shortly and see if they can pull this round for a confirmed victory. We'll now head on into the Crimson Fists, turn 5 psychic and shooting. Okay, and we join the Crimson Fists in turn 5 psychic here, and they're going after the knight with the librarian, hopefully going to bring it down with a force of will. So let's start with Psychic Scourge here, needing a 6 again. We have got it this time, so it's now a leadership roll. So basically, as with the same leadership, it's the highest dice roll wins this one. So I've got a 1, that is not good for me. Okay, so that is actually D3 mortal wounds done to the knight. This could be enough to knock it down to 1 if you get a good roll. No, no, just the 1 mortal wound. So, however, I believe we've got Smite coming up now. So it's down to 3, so still potentially you could kill it in the psychic phase. So we need a 5 here for the Smite. That's gone off, so it's another D3 mortal wounds. We're looking for a 5 or a 6 here. Oh, no, not again. So it's down to 2. Not brilliant, but still, it's almost dead. So that is the end of the psychic phase. So we've got a fair bit of shooting to get through here still, so we're back in a moment. Okay, at the end of the shooting phase for the Crimson Fists, and as you can see here, there's some missing models. And the most notable one is the knight has finally succumbed to the number of bolter shots and fires a fire into it. However, the final blow did actually come from the predator over here, who managed to take off its last couple of wounds quite easily with its autocannons. So, sorry, it's a heavy bolt this part, not even the autocannon fired. So that's the end of that particular part of the phase, and obviously over this bit here, the Chosen also died. So that's 2 more points have gone the way of the Crimson Fists there for killing 2 more whole units. However, I don't think there's any assault left. I can see, unless you wanted to try over there. No, okay, good. Right, all right. And so, at the end of that turn, then we got the 2 points from the kills. We also got 3 points for holding objectives. So because we've got one here, and we did measure that over there, and they are in range of that one. So what's the final score for there? 15. So we'll head over to my turn next and see if I can finish off here. Okay, so the end of the turn 5 movement for Night Lords over here. Havocs have finally broken cover and decided to try and take this objective off the Crimson Fists here. Obviously, we don't know if this game might go on another turn potentially, so I'm going to try and make sure I get as many points as I can in this last round potentially. So that is the end of movement, because nothing else really could move off objectives or into a better position than they already are. So we'll head on into the shooting and psychic phases. Okay, so the end of turn 5 for the Night Lords. Over here, sorry, I did the shooting and the combat round up here now because there wasn't too much actually going on. So first, obviously, the Havoc shot into this squad here and managed to whittle it down to 1 man, and then they charged in after their massive heavy bolter fusillade and managed to do nothing except for lose one of their own. So unfortunately, actually, the Crimson Fist will still hold that if the game carries on to the next turn, because I'm not a troop choice, but they are. Other than that, we had a hell of a lot of weapons fire into this this tactical squad here, but we only took 3 away in the end, and that was after 3 frag missiles and a heavy bolter. Really didn't do a lot, to be honest. So we're now going to see if the game continues. So rolling here, we need a 3 up for it to continue. It does. So I'm just going to do the scores for my turn, and then we'll carry on the game. So essentially, I scored 1 point here, 1 point here, and 1 point over there. So another 3 points to me this turn. I didn't manage to kill anything that turn. So we're back in a minute with turn 6 for the Crimson Fists. Okay, so as we enter turn 6 the Crimson Fists, the scores currently stand at 21 to the Night Lords and 15 to the Crimson Fists. However, it's still achievable victory for the Crimson Fists. They just need a few things to go their way this turn. I have got myself in a little bit of pickle over here because my Lord is now over here on his own, and actually all of these guys are now the closest unit to him. They can now all shoot over to him. We have just measured everything, so it is all good. However, luckily the Predator wasn't quite far enough away from the squad that is over there to make it the closest unit. Other than that though, we've got a lot of psychic and shooting coming up. Well, probably no psychic though, because I think that was all out of range. But let's see if the Crimson Fists can claw back a few more points. Okay, so the Crimson Fists have finished their shooting phase. It was reasonably successful, however, didn't quite get what they wanted. So over here, all the weapons over here shot into the Chaos Lord over here, and it took it down to 2 wounds. It's not bad. I was getting a little bit worried to start with because I thought once the tacticals got to fire, they would take off the last 2, but they actually didn't, luckily. However, the Predator got another point on the board by killing the Havoc squad that was here, and it's also obviously taken that out of its danger zone, so it's now pretty free reign to move around the board and shoot what it wants without too much damage coming back at it. So that's the end of the shooting phase. We have one bit of combat which we're going to move straight into over here. So we have a Sergeant versus 2 Havocs. So obviously the Sergeant's going first, got 2 attacks. It does have a Power Fist, so it's hitting on 4s. No hits this time, and then my Havocs are hitting back, hitting on 3s. I've got 1 hit, and I need a 4 to wound. It's a wound, so he needs a 3-up save to save the point. It's okay, and that means as it's a troop choice, it will trump my Havocs. So, at the end of turn 6 for the Crimson Fists, so we've got a score of 1 here, 1 here, and 1 here. So it's 3 more points, and also a kill which has already been added on. So add 3 onto there, and we'll now move on to the Night Lord's turn 6. Okay, so Night Lord's turn 6. There really isn't a lot I can do now. So what I elected to do was slightly move my Sorcerer away from the objective, but keeping him in range so he can smite the remaining Sergeant over here. And other than that, as you can see here, I had to keep these guys on this objective, and they can't really get close enough to do much damage. And obviously the Terminator Lord over here cannot really move anywhere to get out of range. So he's got to stay put and hope that we don't get another turn on this game. So we'll now head on to the Psychic and Shooting phases and see how this ends up. Okay, so at the end of the Psychic and Shooting phases for Night Lords, the Terminator Lord over here, or Terminator Sorcerer over here, actually smited away the troubles of the Havoc squad over here. So they then managed to get prescience put on them, and then they shot up into the Intercessors, taking 1 of them away. So they obviously got a point for doing that, which is great. I didn't manage to do anything else because I haven't really got anything else in range of this lot over here, and I'm really just going to wait to see what happens if this goes another turn. So let's see if this goes another turn. We have 4 up now for it to continue. Okay, it goes on for another turn. However, I'll just get my scores from here. So at the end of this particular turn, I scored obviously 1 point for killing the Sergeant because I got a whole unit killed, and then we got 1, 2, and 3 over there. So another 3 points to me there on top of my kill, so 4 in total. So we're back in a minute for Crimson Fists, final turn 7. Okay, so turn 7 for the Crimson Fists here. And a bit of tactical manoeuvring going on here. So obviously the Predator's shot round the side here. It can't shoot the Sorcerer yet because these 2 Havocs are actually closer, but I think it's hoping that the Intercessors up here might do it a favour before it shoots. And then in conjunction with that particular manoeuvre, we have over here the tactical squad making a beeline for the Lord over here, along with some pretty hefty backup here. So hopefully they can finish that off. It's only on 2 wounds, so it's fairly likely, I think, but I'm going to hope that the Chaos Gods bless this Terminator Lord with a gift of life, even if it is on 1 wound. We shall see. So now we'll head on to the Psychic and Shooting phases and see what happens. Okay, so as the Crimson Fists close out turn 7. Didn't quite go to plan over here. Unfortunately, Intercessors didn't do any damage to these, so the actual Predator had to finish them off in the end. However, it did manage to kill him, so that took him off the point and also got them a point. And also over here, I've never heard my other half swear so much at trying to kill 1 model. It ended up having to be all the bolters from the Marines killing it in the end because it just kept passing saves. But 1 bolt around managed to get through and he died. That actually got 2 points to the Crimson Fist there because obviously you get the Slay the Warlord plus the killing a unit, so they're both cumulative. So I think that puts you on 22 points at the end of that turn. Oh no, sorry, a bit more than that. Actually, it's 22 plus the points you score, so it's actually 23, 24. So 24 points in the end. So we'll be back in a minute with Night Lord's turn 7. Okay, I was about to start turn 7, but I realised actually there's nothing really I can do to any of the units on the board, and so what I've done is I've just basically gone to the end of the turn and added my 2 points on for scoring this point and this point, which actually puts me at 30 onto to 24. So it's 30 to the Night Lords and 24 to the Crimson Fists. So pretty close game in my opinion. I think it could have gone either way with a little bit more luck. I think the bit that redid it for the Crimson Fist was that knight just would not die, and the las cannons just weren't playing around today in a very nice fashion at all. So I hope you've all enjoyed watching that game. Hope we have a few more coming up soon. We've been a little bit lax on the gaming front, but life has been rather busy at the moment for myself and Dom. So we'll see if we can get some more battle reports out, and we will see you soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.